Hey, welcome back. You know that feeling when you are home alone and you hear a knock at the door? A perfectly normal, everyday sound. But something about it, the hour, the rhythm, the simple fact that you weren't expecting anyone, makes your stomach drop. For a split second, the familiar world cracks and something else peers through. That feeling is at the heart of what we're talking about today. I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is the Unexplained Archive. Our story doesn't begin in a haunted forest or an ancient tomb. It begins, for most people, on their own doorstep. In the late 1990s, a journalist named Brian Bethel shared an experience that would ignite a modern legend. He was sitting in his car outside an old movie theater, writing a check, when two boys approached his window. They looked normal enough, maybe a little pale. They asked for a ride to a nearby house so they could get money for the movie. But something was deeply, instinctively wrong. Brian described an overwhelming sense of dread, a primal revulsion. And then he saw their eyes. Not just dark, but solid, glossy black from corner to corner. No iris, no white, no soul. The children kept asking, politely but persistently, "Can we come in? Can we come in your car?" Brian, frozen with a fear he couldn't logically explain, finally managed to drive away. And with that, the black-eyed children, or BKs, were born. Since that first account, the reports have trickled in from all over. The details are eerily consistent. They always appear in pairs or small groups, usually between the ages of 8 and 16. They're dressed a bit out of date, often in hoodies. They approach people at homes, in parking lots, at gas stations. They ask for help, for a ride, to be let inside. And they are always polite. But that politeness is a mask. Witnesses speak of a crushing sense of dread, a feeling of being hunted, of a deep, biological warning screaming at them to flee. The children's voices are sometimes described as monotone or slightly off. And then, of course, the eyes. Pitch black, absorbing the light. The request is the key. Can we come in? It's the threshold, literal and symbolic, that they seem unable to cross without an invitation. So what are we dealing with here? Let's break it down. The first and most skeptical interpretation is that this is pure modern folklore, a classic campfire story for the digital age. Think about it. It takes ancient fears of the stranger, of the uncanny child, of the vampire needing an invitation, and drops them into a suburban parking lot. The internet acted as a perfect petri dish for this story, letting it mutate and spread globally. In this view, the original account might have been a creative writing exercise, a misunderstood encounter with kids wearing strange contacts, or even a hypnagogic hallucination. The consistency of the reports? That's just how folklore works. Once the template is set, people's experiences and retellings conform to it. But then you talk to the people who claim to have seen them, and you hear the tremor in their voice, the genuine trauma. These aren't people seeking fame. Most beg for anonymity. The emotional residue is real, even if the cause is up for debate. This leads us to a psychological angle. Could the BKs be a manifestation of our collective anxiety? They are the ultimate unwelcome visitors, representing fears of home invasion, of predatory strangers, of the unknown corrupting our safe spaces. As an engineer, I'm trained to look for patterns and root causes. Sometimes the root cause isn't in the external world, but in the internal one. The mind is a powerful storyteller, especially when it's scared. And then, there's the paranormal hypothesis. If we take the accounts at face value, these entities are something else entirely. Some call them interdimensional beings, wearing a human-shaped disguise that's just flawed enough to trigger our uncanny valley response. Others suggest they're a type of psychic vampire, feeding on fear, and the invitation grants them a kind of spiritual or energetic access to their victim. The black eyes are a classic trope in demonic lore. The need for an invitation mirrors countless folk traditions about protection from evil. It's as if someone took a textbook of paranormal tropes and engineered the perfect, minimalist predator for the modern world. I have to tell you, this one sits with me differently. Maybe it's because I've spent my life between worlds, between Bangladesh and New York, between engineering and storytelling, between logic and mystery. The black-eyed children aren't a ghost in a castle. They're a glitch in the everyday. They exploit our most basic social contract, that we help children in need. They weaponize our own compassion. That, to me, is more terrifying than any gothic monster. It attacks who we are at our core. I remember walking home late through Queens one winter night, the streetlights making pools of orange on the icy pavement. I saw a figure sitting on a stoop, hood up, and that irrational, story-fueled thought flashed. What if they have black eyes? I shook it off, of course, but the fact that the idea could even surface, that it could hijack my rational mind for a second, tells me something. These stories hold power because they speak to a universal vulnerability. We are all just a knock away from having our reality upended. So, are the black-eyed children a modern folklore, a psychological phenomenon, or a paranormal predator? The archive remains open. Perhaps they are all three. Folklore gives them shape, psychology gives them a home in our minds, and the paranormal, well, that gives them a mystery we may never fully solve. Their power lies in that ambiguity, in the chilling possibility that the next knock, the next ring of the doorbell, could be the one that changes everything. If you've had an encounter that defies explanation, we're always listening. Share your story with us. And if you want to dive deeper into the archives of the unexplained, make sure you're subscribed to the Unexplained Archive wherever you get your podcasts. For show notes, links, and more, visit our producers at Light Not Studios. https://www.lightnotstudios.com. Thanks for listening. Until next time, stay curious, but maybe think twice before you answer that knock.